Yay.
All right, welcome to the dungeon where we geek out on all things horror, thriller, mystery, and suspense. And we got a double feature here for you today. We got a returning guest, Joshua Millican. Josh, Jesus Christ, in a taxi cab. How many times have you been on this show?
It was 4 or 5 now. You've been very gracious to have me on. I think since the very beginning of my writing career, with the publication of my very first book, Deeper Than Hell, back in 2022. So we go back.
Yep. And I think last time you were on, we were talking about teleportasm.
Oh yeah, man, and it's really doing well in terms of the reviews. Couldn't be happier with how it's being received, and still encouraging people to check that one out.
Okay, cool. And so we are talking about a novelization of a movie, and we have the director of that movie with us, Billy Pawn. Did I do that right? Billy Pawn.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Welcome to the dungeon, Billy.
Thank you for. It's kind of dank and dark down here, and those stairs are going to be a bitch to get back up. But I appreciate the invite down here.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, we're pretty easy on people down here, especially first timers. But we get progressively worse as people come back. You could probably ask Joshua about that. So
you got the gruesome twosome tonight. So
yeah, that's right.
I mean, when we get together, anything goes. There's a little bit of a without a safety net feel to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we met. Is that when he wrote he put out that Deeper Than Hell, I was gonna sue him because I thought it was the title of my last marriage. That's what they called my ex-wife.
Okay.
Yeah, Deeper Than Hell.
It's true.
Well,
But it turned out to be something totally different.
We settled out of court. Amicably. So
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I traded some Whataburger for some In-N-Out, and we're good to go.
All right. That sounds like a fair trade.
Mm-hmm.
He's offering.
Well, we're going to be talking about the movie and the novelization. So first of all, Billy, tell us about now. Even before the movie, I wanted to touch upon the haunted attraction that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about that. How long has that been going on?
Here's the kicker: is when I was in third grade, and we're talking probably like early '80s. My mom was like PTA president, so I was always hanging out with her after school hours or whatever. And there was a guy doing the fall festival or the fall carnival haunt, and I went over there. She said, "Go help him," and I went to go help him, and man, fell in love with doing haunts. So that year I started, working on haunts, and by the time I was like, I don't know, 13 or 14, I was doing my own. I moved down here to Odessa in '98 and did one called DEFCON 1 Haunted Warehouse, and that's kind of a Resident Evil kind of Day of the Dead kind of thing. But then a couple years in there, I come up with this idea after seeing House of a Thousand Corpses because I love Sid Haig's, portrayal of Captain Spaulding. I said, well, let's do one called Circus of the Dead Murder Maze. So I did a haunt like that. And then I started playing around with an idea is, with coming up with a backstory and characters and all this kind of stuff. And one of the characters inside this haunted house we had was Doll Boy. And we already had the character and the guy who played it in one of the clowns. And we threw spaghetti to a wall and see if it was ready or not. And we did this short, a 20-minute short, and I didn't think it was very good, but it ended up getting into like over 70 film festivals, and that kind of kickstarted my career.
Okay, wow. So the I guess the seedlings of the Circus of the Dead came from
Yes.
some of the haunt actors from the haunt.
Yeah, well, more importantly, the seedlings came from is the objective of making these movies and stuff was say how do you make a good clown movie without it being, cheesy and such? Clown cars and all this kind of stuff. Like,
Mhm.
because I really wanted to stick true to the Captain Spaulding thing, is he just happens to be a clown for his day job, and then what goes on any other time. So that's what we wanted to do, is just make it more realistic than cheesy. Now I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space, but we were just trying to make something that was a little bit more realistic, like Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now this movie, Circus. I mean, it takes place in the backdrop of a circus, but it's
Hmm.
sort of like this. I don't know, traveling. Without getting into spoilers, because I didn't see the movie until this past weekend.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I
sorry.
usually
I'm sorry you had to watch it.
so
He shouldn't have made you watch that.
you watch the movie and then I'll read the book. But yeah, it seemed like this. I don't know, kind of traveling.
Hmm.
I don't know what you call it. Sort of like a. I want to call it like a 13 Sins type of
All right.
thing.
Okay.
Where it's like they basically kidnap this family and force the husband to do these really terrible things, and it just keeps getting worse each
There you go.
thing.
Well,
So
that's in movie making to me, anyways. I try to find one thing. Like Dollboy was this guy Brandon, who you saw in the first of Search of the Dead get his hand cut off, and he
mhm.
had the watch. He cared more about that watch than he cared about people. So the Dollboy was don't put material possessions before life, and this movie is don't take your life for granted, because it could always get a hell of a lot worse. And Papa Corn's not just in the sake of kidnapping to kidnap, he has to somehow associate it with something he's doing or working on. And basically, with Donald and his family, is he saw a man that was kind of just a zombie and wasn't happy in life. So he was just wanted to show him and teach him a lesson that things weren't really that bad. You should have cared about things a little bit more, before you met us. So
Hmm. Are you a fan of the Saw movies? Because that sounds very much like
I'm
a
I'm definitely, I wouldn't say I'm like an Uber fan, but I am a fan, and I do watch them in the whole aspect of it. I like the aspect that there may be a little bit of what do you call it, Silence of the Lambs kind of thing, a little more thriller and stuff in there too, because I think everybody needs that in their movies. And I don't think I could go straight slasher or whatever. It kind of like put a melting pot of a lot of things in there. It's like when Josh writes, it's like if you're just one facet of something, you'd probably bore everybody. I feel like movies are the same. I think you kind of need the kitchen sink of things to move people and take them on an emotional roller coaster, is what I try to do.
yeah, yeah. Now, let's see. Now, what year was the Circus of the Dead came out on?
That's a great question.
Uh,
Here's how I'm going to answer it. Is we did a test screening of the what do you call it, the working print in 2014. Then we couldn't get anybody, because we were trying to find a distributor and all that. Then we tried to do it in 2017 with this company that was made so that way companies don't get screwed around by distributors. Well, they went bankrupt and screwed us over. Then I got the rights back, and then it got officially put out by Dread in 2020. So if that
okay.
says anything, so it's technically was done in 2014, but it didn't really come out officially till 2020.
Wow. Okay. And now, understand that the sequel is coming out.
Yes.
Or now, have you started production of that yet?
No, just the logistics, raising money, still going back and forth on the story stuff. It takes place 10 years in the future where the last one left off. So it's going to skip some time on what they did. And I'm sure Josh is happy to hear that, because he's saying, oh, I got 10 years to play to play with till pick back up on this.
Now, when I looked up on the Indiegogo, it looks like it ended on $78,966.
Yeah. I expect it to make $7 total. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty
That's
happy.
a little bit above that. So yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't even do my hand jobs to give people hand jobs perk yet either. So I'm like, man, I was like, got really lucky. But I'm hoping that's the one that's going to push us over 100.
Okay.
It's not as bad as it sounds, because I use an oven mitt. Yeah.
Alrighty. Uh,
Josh knows. He knows. Yeah, like
I know what I know.
so now is the original actors going to be reprising their roles?
yes. I mean, I'm gonna always say knock on wood because you know how damn life goes sometimes. But as of right now, yes.
Okay, very good. So yeah, so you're still working over like the ideas and stuff. So what's is there anything that we could I mean, without spoiling anything, any like little teasers or something like that that you can tell
Yeah,
us
I
what
mean,
the second movie's gonna
it's.
go into?
I think it's smarter than the last one, and I think there's more feeling in it. Um, Popcorn, for the first time in his life, isn't so sure about the future, and that's what he's trying to figure out. When me and Lee wrote the first one, our goal was to make these clowns each have our personality, and Popcorn was both us also. And I don't know that he made it. He just passed away. Lee, the other co-writer, passed away not too long ago in like a nursing home at just 54 years old. It's very sad
Mm.
and tragic. But it's like I talk to him every other day or every couple days, and they were pumping him full of morphine and stuff at the end, and the stuff he was spitting out just about life and stuff like that. And I couldn't get him to talk much about Papa or Circus or anything because he was just so out of his mind. But on all these notes and recordings I took from him, when I started going back to him, I just realized that's how he was trying to tell me where to go, and that was him knowing he's at the end of his rope and stuff, and what was to be expected of him in the you know next life, so to speak. And that's where I wanted to take it. That's why I said this one's very smart and tragic, because even if you're a bad guy, your time may come up. It's just the older we get, Josh has got a kid and stuff. It's what about their future? What about tomorrow? It's up to you to provide a safe future and stuff for this. But can you all the time because of all the other silly things other people do? It's just very terrifying,
Mm.
especially for young fathers and stuff. So
Um, so are we gonna almost get like I don't know, almost like I want to say like a Saw 10 because it's like when I saw that, it was like, don't tell me I'm starting to feel sympathy for John Kramer. It's like,
yeah.
so is the second one's going to be more of, I don't know, sympathizing with the devil type of thing?
Mm, My
Or
Here's the thing: is I believe the devil should stay the devil, kind of thing. I'm not going to make you feel sympathy for him. It's just sometimes maybe the thing that you're most scared of shouldn't be the thing that you're most scared of.
okay.
Saw 10 is pretty good, but it's like if I had to nail down one thing for it, it would probably be like a Two Girls, One Cup is what would I say would be the plot line for part two.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going for the non-rated one, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Terrifier just showed you this weekend. You don't need
Oh
no
yeah.
damn ratings anymore.
Oh
That
no.
What that did is that did something that's going to change everything up. That's just crazy. That's such a good thing, though, Josh. You know too, Josh. You're watching this stuff. This says a lot of big things. They could change a lot of the way these theaters are looking at indie films. These big budget films. Joker and stuff, and then you got these guys coming with just 2 million, and making their money back in an hour. So it's good times. Let's see if we can make something great. I feel like the first one was good, but I feel like I can improve on 1,000 different things. I'm older, wiser, and that's what I'm going to try to do is really give it all I got. So in case it is my last thing I ever get to do, I want it to be as best as it possibly can be.
Hmm.
If I may interject, it's like one of the great things about Terrifier in relation to Circus of the Dead is it's not like these films are kind of like where you like one or the other, because on the surface they're both clown horror, and on the surface they both have a really bizarre, intriguing main character who's a clown. But they're really on opposite sides of the spectrum. Terrifier, which I love, they go so extreme that it becomes cartoonish. And it's kind of
Yeah.
like this shouldn't exist within the realms of the real world. what Circus of the Dead does, it goes to the other extremes. It's like there is nothing supernatural about this. It's just as bad, but completely real.
Yeah.
And they're big fans of, like, I do a shtick all the time where I pick on them and stuff like that, but they're pretty good fans. Like, I know David Art himself is a big fan of Circus. Damien, we've had limited conversations and stuff, but I think they're fans and stuff of the movie and stuff, and I'm definitely fans of theirs and stuff. Although if you look at me online, I kind of, start trouble all the time just to be a troll, but I do it out of love, and it's if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have been kickstarted in the ass so much to go and do what I do. It's them doing so good makes me want to do good too.
Yeah. I told, look, whatever you do, please do not make Terrifier into a musical or put Art the Clown in space. So if you do one of those two things, or both of those things, it's like that the franchise is gone. So
yeah, that's opposite of what I told Damien, because I told him to put Art in Uranus, but so far he hadn't done it. Now, do you know David's going to be in Circus of the Dead Part 2?
I saw his name listed on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what part he's going to play?
I know what part he's going to play, but as far as the name, we might make that a perk where they get to name his character. So I might save that and see. But I will say this, though, as they go, was he going to be Art the Clown? And I'm like, motherfuckers, come on. You know damn well he's not going to be Art the Clown in there. So let's not do that. I owe it to him is not to make him a clown. You know what I mean? It's like I wouldn't do that to him. But what I'm really interested in is his when I started following him in the early days was on MySpace, and he was a cosplay Joker, and I just thought he was really good. And I even had him on the short list for Popcorn, but then lost touch with him and all this kind of stuff. So I want to hear him talk in a movie, as a bad guy too. So and then I watched the main one, and I think he is only grunting or something, and I was like, somebody let this dude talk. What the hell's going on? He does great with dialogue. Let this guy talk.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let him talk live.
Okay. That'll be good. That'll be different for him, I think. So now let's move on to the novelization. Joshua. Now the book is coming out November 26th of 2024.
Okay. Yeah. I knew it was right around Thanksgiving. So you can, there are going to be plenty of black market opportunity, Black Friday opportunities from Encyclopocalypse. We're putting out the trade version and the mass market version. Both of these covers were actually designed by Billy right here, who's an amazing graphic artist, in addition to everything else.
Now I understand that it's also coming out with the deck of the what do you call them, the
Loteria Cards.
Loteria Cards.
Yeah, not a full deck. If you pre-order specifically from Encyclopocalypse, you'll get an exclusive set of 4 Loteria cards for the 4 main clowns, talking Popcorn, Noodle Dome, Blister, and Jumbo. However, if you in the novelization, we included, because people have a little trouble wrapping their mind around it, so we actually included the poster sheets that Popcorn keeps on his wall that he crosses things off. Now it's important to note that these aren't the real Loteria cards. Billy was clever enough to even make his own deck, so we actually had someone read it and review the novelization and be like, those Loteria cards didn't match any of my Loteria cards. It's like, no, they're all new. So Loteria actually exists, basically a Mexican version of bingo. And, Billy just kind of riffed on that. It's actually brought up in the portion I was going to read in a little bit.
Okay, cool. So now this question is for either one of you. So how did you guys kind of cross paths? And
Grinder.
Yeah, he told me the best glory holes in Texas on a road trip through.
Okay.
I don't. I missed the Frightmare he was at or something. I missed the convention he was at, but we
Yeah,
kind of already knew each other online. But we still haven't met in person yet. Believe it or not, he might not even be real. He looks like one of those Muppets. I don't know that he's real. I don't know that somebody's doesn't have their hand up his butt, doing this kind of thing with him. I don't know.
I mean, they might. We met a few years ago when I was doing a Circus of the Dead panel, and I got to moderate. At the time, I think it was the biggest Circus of the Dead reunion. Only Billy couldn't be there because he was being really selfish at the time.
Very selfish, yeah.
He was going around having cancer and shit instead of coming out to horror conventions.
The audacity.
It was a lot of fun.
Living our lives because he was just being so selfish. But no, seriously, the guy came through. He beat lymphoma's ass and came back and I think he mentioned before, Circus of the Dead was released and then the distributor went under. So, after Billy almost went under, he wanted to make sure that Circus of the Dead had a home on DVD and Blu-ray. So he called me up and I helped him do it. It was kind of a fast and loose deal. No one got rich, but it exists in Blu-ray and DVD form, and you can't take that away. You can put it on your shelf of physical media. And Circus of the Dead ain't going nowhere. So we've just been friends from that point on. This guy is the real deal. And when I came into novelizations recently, a couple years ago, through my friends at Encyclopocalypse, first one I tipped my toe into was Forbidden Zone. And I was like, man, I'm not going to just do one novelization. What would be my dream list of another novelization? And Circus of the Dead was the perfect candidate for a novelization because it has a really big cult following and it deserves more attention. And this is there's a lot of merch already tied in with Circus of the Dead. There's a real rabid fan base that loves adding, the different DVD covers. Billy releases different VHS cover variants. They love it. So, putting out a novelization for this collector crowd for Circus of the Dead specifically, it was just a match made in heaven. I called him up. I said, let's do it. He said, okay, let's do it. And we did it.
See it? Simple as that.
Right? How's it supposed to go?
That's the same plot line as Brokeback Mountain. That's so weird.
Because this is your baby. So how hands-on were you as far as how much that Josh you allowed Joshua to be able to, I guess.
Yeah, no, I get it. I can see what you're saying. At first I was real scared. I was scared to shit. But the more I get to know Josh, he does handle it the right way because he's not wanting to take it and venture out of the world we created so much so as he wants to capture that same road. And I'm glad he did because it got me thinking about it again too and all that kind of stuff. So it all worked in unison. Us talking about that kind of got Circus 2 going. So it was hard, being a baby and all, but you just saw him. He's good with his own kid. So I knew he'd take care of my baby pretty good. So
now, was there any aspect of Joshua's writing a particular scene or something like that after reading it, you went back to your film and saw it in a different light?
I don't know about that. The only thing that pops in my mind now that the thing I regret not doing is more on that those meth monkeys that Josh was talking about, where Mr. Blister got these monkeys all on meth and they killed a bunch of the spectators, and now the circus is not allowed to have monkeys at their circus. So that explains in the earlier movies where it says, "Daddy, are there monkeys here?" It's like, no, Josh explained that because, in another town a couple years before that they got wild and killed a bunch of people. So no more monkeys.
Yeah, that's right. If I remember correctly, because it's been a few days since I saw the movie, that Joshua, that's something that you kind of expanded upon and just kind of like, I don't know, what was that explained explicitly in the movie, or did I know that was the case because I read the book?
Yeah, no, that's the case.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of things that I did with Circus of the Dead. it was all there in Billy's screenplay, and I would just do a little extra riff here and there when necessary. You know, there's nothing in there that came 100% completely out of my mind. I did a little bit more of that in the prequel, which we added. That's where Billy really allowed me to flex, and where he kind of like gave me the ground rules, and then, you know, kind of let me, remake his Doll Boy short film as more of a straight Circus of the Dead prequel. So that's where we did a lot of flexing. But, you know, in terms of the novelization of Circus of the Dead, the movie that everyone knows, I was really just happiest when I got to extend a little bit, you know, bring things out just a tiny bit more, you know, get into Mr. Blister's head while he's playing the sexy video game, or, you know, just bring a conversation 2 or 3 sentences further. You know, things like that were just a ton of fun.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, because the I guess the prequel is a separate part. It's in the book, but it's at the end of the book, right?
Yeah, and you know, there was a reason why we put it at the end. Even though Doll Boy came out before Circus of the Dead, and you'd think, well, oh, this would be a good opportunity to do it chronologically. You know, I felt it would have revealed too much too soon. You know, one of the things that Billy and I did go back and forth on, not a lot, we talked it out, but when we were first writing together, there's something in the screenplay that wasn't in the film, and that was a lamp made out of a child's body, you know, that you see kind of early on. And I said, Billy, I love the imagery, but it reveals too soon that they kill kids. You know, it's like, you know, they do terrible things, and you see that Papa commits assaults, but, you know, there's that tension, at least the first time when you see the movie, where you're like, well, Don's still going to get his daughters back, you know, like they don't kill kids. So I said, Billy, you know, if you have this lamp made out of the skin of and bones of a child, you kind of like already revealed the depths of their depravity too soon. You know, you kind of like let the cat out of the bag too early. So that's why it was fun putting Doll Boy, the prequel, at the end, because then, you know, you already know how sick they are, and we can just dive right into it, where you know what these clowns are capable of in a whole new light.
Well, and we did a podcast yesterday, and that was the first time I realized something I did is I sent Josh an early screenplay stuff, because, you know, I mean, I got 100 screenplays of Circus in there, and I thought it was one of the new ones, but it wasn't. But then it reminded me of, like, a lot of that early stuff is cool too. But, you know, when you make a movie, you don't get everything in there, but it's perfect for book stuff. And I would be surprised if I went through some of those other ones. There's probably some other weird stuff in there too. I wouldn't be very surprised.
Well, we can keep it going, man. We can obviously.
Well, we got 10 years to fill in after this movie.
Yeah, we've talked about Circus of the Dead Part 2 novelization, of course. You know, this time we're going to time it for the release, so it'll actually be like the old days where they both come out in the same week. But we've also talked about, you know, because the prequel Doll Boy is more than just a reboot of the Doll Boy short film. It's an origin story for Doll Boy and Brandon. So it would be fun for Billy to look through his old scripts, and we can collaborate on some more origin stories for some of these other characters. You know, Mr. Blister was a pyro fire artist before he became a clown. And if you ever saw him naked, you'd see he's like covered with burns all over his chest and things like that.
And hung like a mosquito.
Yeah. I mean,
that's real life, though.
We don't know a lot about Noodle Dome, but we know that Papa has a genuine, caring attitude towards him. Noodle Dome's really the only one he cares about, and it'd be interesting to explore how they first met. I have some ideas I'd run past Billy. But
here's the thing is, if you notice going to Dallas on that road, there's a road called Noodle Dome Road.
I didn't know that.
He finds this special needs boy right at a younger age. That's Noodle Dome. What do you call him? You look up, you see this sign, Noodle Dome Road, and that's Noodle Dome. That's where he kind of come from. So he never knew his real name or any of that stuff. Never had one.
Okay. See, that's what Billy did for Doll Boy. He said, okay, you know, he's this big guy. He's an ice cream man, and he diddles kids, you know. So and Papa is the one who helped him with his transformation, and he did that by performing an emasculation. So he gave me these parameters and then let me run with it. And then when it got to the warehouse, that was where I fell back on the short film, really making that the crux of it. But Billy and I talked more there. He told me, well, if I had had an unlimited budget, I would have done more in that warehouse. There would have been more traps. It's not wrong that you're mentioning Saw, because he said it would have been more like a Saw scenario with things coming out of the walls and stuff like that. So,
and that's because Dollboy is a little chunky, so you got to think of it this way: is like if you get a marathon runner in there and Dollboy's chasing you with a sledgehammer, you got a good shot of getting away from him. So you got to slow him down with these booby traps, and that would be shooting taser guns or bear traps in the floor and things like that. So. Dollboy is a cool thing. If that was made with the knowledge I had with Circus, can you imagine that movie, Josh? That would have been. We already had little kids running around in there with
little feral
their underwear and stuff. Yeah, it was. And you can bring your kid out, Josh.
Totally, just dirty him up, let him run free, give him some fangs.
Yeah,
it'd be great.
Well, Joshua, now we typically have the author read a segment of just a little short teaser.
What I like about this is it kind of goes along with what I was explaining to you, where I didn't rewrite anything that Billy had set up. I added a little bit to it. So this is the scene where the two circus workers find the Loteria card, and it's just kind of a quick throwaway scene. But what Billy let me do is he kind of let me turn these basically cameo characters into actual three-dimensional people who have a life, and a place within this big community. So that was a lot of fun. And it was also a way to just ever so slightly scratch the surface about who Papa Corn is. And the Loteria card game, which we were talking about before. So, all right, here we go. When a worm, a new Cirky, joins the outfit, they're assigned an accountability buddy, someone whose job it is to show them the ropes while ultimately being accountable for their fuck-ups. John was Juan's accountability buddy, and they've been tight for a bit now. So they're hanging out, smoking cigarettes. I forgot to mention that, just on a little break. Hey man, what's a fireball outfit? Juan asks, puffing his joint. John gives him the side eye. Where'd you hear that term? He asks. Back in El Paso, Juan tells him, I heard someone say this was a fireball outfit. John flicks his cigarette into a pile of horse shit and lights another before explaining, a fireball outfit's a circus that brings a bad element to town and ruins it for everyone else. Like the circus that comes through next is going to be burned out of town by an angry mob with torches. Oh, Juan replies. So, is this a fireball outfit? Well, shit, John spits. Any outfit that's been around as long as we have is going to have its underbelly. Circus life attracts outsiders, and outsiders attract drugs and prostitution and gambling. It just comes with the territory. Oh, Juan replies. You see how bright and colorful these tents are? John asks Juan. You see how everything on the outside sparkles? Juan shrugs. I suppose so. But it's not so pretty in the backyard, right? The backyard is circus lingo for any place off limits to the public. These are the places the townies never see. What's your point? Juan asks. My point is, even things that shine have a dark side. People too. Oh, Juan replies. So, is this a fireball outfit? Jesus Christ, Juan, John snaps. Didn't you hear a damn thing I just said? He shakes his head, shrugs his shoulders, and leans on his shovel. The duo's suddenly distracted when the beautiful Tia Caribe meanders on her way past to a trailer. The Hispanic trapeze artist smiles as she passes them both. Did you see that? Juan asks. She smiled at me. Yeah, John replies with a chuckle. She smiled at you because you're standing in shit. Juan looks down and sees it's true. As he wipes his shoe across the dirt, he notices a Loteria card on the ground. He picks it up, flips it over, revealing El Diablito, the devil. Whoa, Juan smiles. I haven't seen one of these since I was a kid. What is it? John asks. A tarot card? Nah, man, not even close. It's a game for children, Juan explains. Me and my grandma used to play this when I was a kid. Basically, it's like bingo, but from Mexico. A game for kids? So why is there a devil on it? John asks. It means behave yourself so the little red one doesn't carry you away. Every card has its own character, and every character has its own line. Well, look at you, says John. You're the one teaching me something new today. Where do you think it came from? No idea, Juan replies. I'm just the new guy, remember? Their friendly banter trickles off when Papa Corn casually walks in between them on his way to the clown trailer. There's something uncanny and intimidating about the sinewy clown that cools the atmosphere. Papa Corn pretends to pay them no mind, though he's been eavesdropping on their conversation. Whoa, Juan says while reaching into his shirt pocket for another joint. Who's that guy? That, my amigo, is Papa Corn the Clown. They think they've been talking quietly, but at the mention of his name, Papa Corn turns around, grins, and gives the men a bow. His smile's charming and disarming, but also creepy. With a bit of flourish, Papa turns back around and continues walking down Clown Alley towards his trailer. What's up with that guy, Juan asks, his voice barely above a whisper. Well, John replies, most clowns are based on European archetypes, evolved from jesters and harlequins. But Papa Corn's something else, an archetype that's 100% American. The hobo, the vagabond, the tramp. The tramp. Yes, sir. Beholden to no man or institution, untethered from societal norms, free to go where he pleases. So, the show doesn't start for hours, Juan says. Why is he already in costume? Papa Corn's always in costume. I've never seen him out of makeup, or if I have, I don't know it. Juan's fascinated and wants to know more. I wonder who he is under there. What's his story? Amigo, as your accountability buddy, it's my job to inform you that questions like that will lead you straight into some serious trouble. How would you like it if I asked who you were, really? Juan Antonio Felipe Salazar Martinez? Papa Corn pauses near the entrance of his trailer. He pays attention to a black goat tied to a banister, regarding the animal with kindness. Papa scratches her forehead around the horns and strokes her beard. He gives John and Juan one last toodles wave before disappearing inside. The door closes with an ominous slam. The clown trailer's the size of a shipping container, and it's still attached to the beat-up semi that hauls it. It's dingy and dented, with sticky pools of liquid accumulating beneath it. The windows have been deliberately blacked out. A crackling ragtime tune emanates from inside. What do you think goes on in there, Juan asks. Amigo, John replies, I guarantee you don't want to know. Come on, let's get back to work.
Nice.
All right. There you go.
You know, it's like, I told Billy when I was writing it, it's like I wasn't going to try to affect Billy's Southern dialect, his Texan dialect, but I didn't want to write anything that I couldn't imagine Billy's actually saying. So if he was going to be like the audiobook narrator, I didn't want to write anything that wouldn't sound natural coming out of this guy's mouth.
Okay.
So you wrote it from a first grader's point of view. That's about where my word usage goes. Maybe third grade with cuss words.
Oh, there you go. So that's Circus of the Dead novelization coming out. Again, let me double check. November 26th, 2024. Now, currently at the time of this recording, the movie Circus of the Dead, I believe you could rent it on Amazon Prime, but it's also playing on Tubi.
I know what you're laughing at. You're laughing at the masturbation scene, the head screwing scene.
I was like, did they really go there?
Yeah.
So, well, Billy, thank you so much for coming on. I hope he didn't damage you too badly.
As if you could.
Joshua, again, thank you for coming back. Now, Joshua, you have just before we wrap up here, you have another book. Goddamn, you've been busy. You have another book coming out of All Through the Night or All Through the House?
Well, that was just a surprise opportunity landing in my mouth.
In your mouth.
A surprise opportunity.
Did you swallow or spit?
Stop it. Now Billy's gotten you acting like a degenerate. Come on now. People, this is a professional podcast. So this opportunity fell out of nowhere into my lap, which could sound just as bad with you and Billy hanging out with me. where they wanted to put all through the house out in time for to get on this Christmas horror trend that it looks like Terrifier is sparking. So not 2 months ago, I got the screenplay for the first time, and I went right to work. And just because I cranked it out fast didn't mean I didn't give it just as much attention to detail. I meant I was very focused. It meant my family didn't see me for about 9 days. But it's some really good work, and I'm proud of it. And yeah, it'll be out in just a couple more weeks.
Okay, cool. So, let me ask if people want to find out more about each of you. Where could they go? Do you like Facebook or Twitter?
I'm on Facebook under Bloody Bill. You can look somewhere and find me. We run an official Circus of the Dead fan page and a group. You can find that and get involved with it. I always drop a lot of secrets and teases in that before I let the public know. So I try to talk to the people as much as I can in there so they can have access to me in a non-physical way.
Cool.
And me, I'm on Twitter at Josh_Millican and on Instagram at Josh_Millican. But yeah, something else about the Circus of the Dead Facebook page, it actually is a really good community. Everyone there not only really loves the film, a lot of people actually know each other and get to know each other there. And, it's a lot of fun, and a lot of people have already been really supportive about the novelization, and we can't wait to see what all of those guys think of it.
Yeah, it's coming. I'm excited to see what they think about it too.
Sweet. All right. Well, Billy, Joshua, thank you so much again for coming on. And looking forward to I already read the book, but you people need to get the book. and then when you order directly from Encyclopocalypse, you'll get is it like one card or 4 cards or 4 cards? What's his name? Papa
Corn.
Papa Corn.
But his friends call him Papa Corn.
His friend called Papa Corn.
Yeah.
And he loves delicious families.
He does. And it gets what it wants.
Unfortunately.
All right, we're going to end it there. Thank you again so much. And from the dungeon, we will see you, I guess, next time. Bye. All right.